The day before another big game, the Hamilton Tiger Cats run through a light practice to fine-tune plays and formations. On the sidelines, watching closely, is Bob Brettina. The former radio broadcaster did play-by-play of Ticat games for 14 years, and he parlayed his popularity into politics. Brettina served one term as mayor and helped get the team a new stadium.
Yeah. You know, and while I was the mayor, it was kind of fun, but this is different. I'm running federally now.
Yeah.
Now he's running for the Liberals and hoping to win back the riding of Hamilton East-Stoney Creek.
How are you going to win this riding?
Well, I've got such great name recognition from 45 years in radio, 20 years as the morning man on the highest rated station. Then, of course, the mayor of the city of Hamilton brings you a lot of recognition and knowledge. But, you know, when I come to the football game, people come up to me because they know what I had to do with regard to getting this stadium built. And they say to me, thank you. Thanks for this stadium. And you know what? If there's enough of them come from Hamilton East-Stoney Creek, I think we've got a pretty good chance of winning.
So we're quite happy.
Yes, we are.
But the NDP incumbent, Wayne Marston, is standing in the way. After losing to the Liberals 3 times in the 90s, the former union organizer and human rights advocate has won 3 times in a row, and his campaign team is confident that momentum is building towards another victory.
Just over 1,200 mark on the signs now?
1,200.
1,200.
Back in '93, I put up 300. I kind of like the sound of this.
Do you have any fears this riding is going to swing back to the Liberals?
We're going to work hard. I don't think it's going to swing back to the Liberals. We're satisfied with the results we're getting every day. People are contacting us at a rate greater than any other campaign I've been in. If anything, I see growth.
The Conservative candidate is Diane Babenko, a mother of 4 who works as an executive assistant to a Conservative MP. Her signs are out, she's campaigning hard, but she declined our request for an interview. For more than a century, Hamilton has been known as Steel Town. Trouble is, they don't make steel here anymore. The industry, undermined by foreign competition, downsized by foreign owners. Rolled steel now comes from elsewhere to be turned into car parts and other products. The workforce has shrunk from 40,000 to about 6,000. And iconic names are fading. DeFasco was bought by a Belgian company. Stelco was bought by U.S. Steel, which promised to keep it open but shut it down. Bankruptcy has put the pensions of retired steel workers in doubt, and many of them live in Hamilton East-Stoney Creek.
You've got about 12,000 seniors or somewhere in that area who are on retiree pensions from U.S. Steel, from Stelco, and they're in CCAA right now, and there's a chance that their pension will get wrapped up. There's over $1 billion owed to that pension plan. And so unless that's addressed, at some point they'll probably wrap it up so that they can sell the company. That's the #1 issue in this community.
This riding nestles between Lake Ontario and the Niagara Escarpment, what they refer to here as the Mountain. It combines the gritty mills and working-class neighborhoods of Hamilton East with the more rural ambience and condo developments that attract retirees to Stoney Creek. Almost 1/3 of the 107,000 residents in the riding are over 55. Many have Italian roots. Despite the steel slump, unemployment is just 5.3%, below both the national and provincial average. The annual family income is $79,000. Still, this remains a blue-collar riding. Half the adult population has no more than a high school education. Hamilton East-Stoney Creek is an amalgamation of 2 old ridings that were once safe Liberal bastions. Hamilton East, for example. Starting in 1962, John Munro won 8 straight elections. Then Sheila Copps, the daughter of a long-serving mayor, followed with 6 victories. Both Munro and Copps served in cabinet. Both ran unsuccessfully for the party leadership, and both were local icons. The Hamilton Airport is named after Munro, and the local arena was originally named after Copps' father. But the party brand was tarnished by the infighting between Jean Chrétien and Paul Martin. When the new riding was formed in 2003, Copps, a Chrétien loyalist, lost the Liberal nomination to Tony Valeri, a Martin supporter. Valeri did manage to win in 2004, but the party's popularity was fading fast. The NDP won in 2006 and have held the riding ever since. In the last election, the Liberals finished a distant third. So, Bob, you're a big Ticats fan. What lessons have you learned from a team that's turned it around and started winning, like the Liberals are trying to do in Hamilton East-Stoney Creek?
Well, patience is a virtue in many things in life. And things go in cycles, too. And so, look at the Montreal Alouettes, unstoppable. And then Calvillo retires, and now it's hard for them to get a win. This team, part of the fortunes turned around with actually the stadium. Kent Austin put together a great football team, but somehow the stadium has created some magic for the team and the fans. So it all kind of reflects around my political view that it is time for a change. And I've got some political assets in name recognition, my passion for the city, you know, and and I think a lot of Justin Trudeau. So patience and waiting for the right time may work for me. We'll tell on October the 19th.
You were mayor for 4 years. You decided not to run for a second term.
Correct.
And decided to run federally for the Liberals instead. Why?
Hamilton needs help. We've done a lot. The stadium meant a lot. The new GO station on James Street North has been huge for property values and people moving from Toronto, as an example, here. And then and big downtown development. So we really changed the direction of the city from moribund to opportunity and excitement. But having been the mayor for the past 4 years, I know that, for instance, we can't afford to fix the roads, which on our report card are D-. At my age, 71, I don't have that many elections left in my belt. And so the next best thing to do for the city of Hamilton, the city I love, is to try to get part of the federal government, and luckily enough we have the same viewpoint from our leader Justin Trudeau, that money will be made available to cities to do these projects, which are so important for us to grow our city. And
so this used to be such a strong Liberal bastion. What happened?
that period with the Liberal Party in the Martin Chrétien changeover years created some tensions that are finally resolved. And I'm friends with both Sheila and Tony. Lots of old Liberals told me, they're like, if you guys can't get along, why should I be out knocking on doors, canvassing? The hardest thing in a campaign is to keep your volunteers motivated. And so when you're arguing with each other, that doesn't help. So I think we've gone through the transition, and it's very much, I've got signs all over the riding, Hamilton East-Stoney Creek, and more to come. So I'm pretty confident that what we're seeing is a resurgence of the Liberal votes that were there that decided they didn't want to participate.
So there was a very famous battle in Stoney Creek during the War of 1812. How's the new battle of Stoney Creek shaping up?
Well, I've had good support in this riding for 10 years now, and it seems to be holding. We get out amongst the people every weekend, even when there's no election. I spend 2 hours at a little food court here on the Saturday. I go to different Tim Hortons. I keep connected. So when the campaign comes around, it doesn't feel like a change. Mm-hmm.
You're 68 years old, but you're the young guy in the race. Bob Bratina, the Liberal, is 71. How does it feel to be the young guy in the race?
Well, I haven't been the young guy in a race for a long time, but it's interesting. It's not a matter of age. It's a matter of the willingness, your interest in what you're doing. And so I haven't thought of age in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Now, this used to be a very strong Liberal riding.
Yeah.
What happened that made it swing to the NDP?
Well, I'd offer something first. We had John Munro here in Hamilton East. We had Sheila Copps. We had Tony Valeri in the Stoney Creek side. But during those same periods, you were NDP provincially. People, in my opinion, weren't solidly voting Liberal. They were voting for those characters. You know, John Monroe, Sheila Copps were certainly characters. So once they were off the scene, it reverted to us. And so there was some problems with the Martin government that generated some of that. Some of the Liberals from Sheila Copps actually came over to us. So it was just a change that evolved.
Bob Bertina is very well known in the riding as a broadcaster, the voice of the Ticats, the mayor for 4 years. How much does his candidacy worry you?
I don't get worried about a candidate, no matter who it is. We've done our job here for 10 years, and the folks that work for me have done really good work with the community. So you go out there, you offer who you are, what you're considering, you know, for future ideas. It comes from our leader, you know, in the sense of the total campaign. But I trust in people. We don't go to war in an election campaign. We just offer ourselves up.
The Conservatives finished second here last time. Your Conservative opponent, Diane Babenko, is keeping a very low profile, it seems. Where are the Conservatives at in this riding, in your view?
Well, it's hard to say, but last election they had Brad Clark, who was a well-known city councillor, had been a minister in the Mike Harris government, so he brought the Conservatives up somewhat more than what they traditionally have done. I think they've reverted to their numbers from previous elections.
The Conservative candidate, Diane Babenko, is proving hard to find. An aide told us in an email that she was simply too busy during our 3-day visit to the riding to spend any time with us. Subsequent emails, phone messages, messages on social media have gone unanswered, so we've come here to our campaign headquarters to see if we can track her down. I saw a face in the door a couple of minutes ago, and her car is parked outside, or a car is parked outside. So we left another phone message. Hi, Diane. It's Roger Smith from CPAC. It's Thursday morning. We're outside your campaign headquarters. Still hoping to talk to you for the campaign profile we're doing on this riding. Please give me a call. Thank you very much. That message, unlike previous ones, got a quick response. As we went around to check the back door, the phone rang. Hi, David. I'm fine. How are you? Babenko's campaign manager was calling to repeat that they had no interest in being part of our story. All right. Thank you very much, Dave, and good luck with the campaign. That was Diane Babenko's husband, Dave Brown, who's chairing her campaign. He's a former provincial Conservative candidate, and he's saying they're simply not interested in doing an interview. They have a campaign plan. Diane is busy meeting voters, and that they don't want distractions to get in the way. Well, a candidate has no obligation to talk to the media. This Conservative supporter thinks it would help Babenko if she did. Your office is right next door to Diane Babenko's campaign office. You've met her. What's your impression of her?
I'm very impressed. She seems very articulate. She's very knowledgeable about the goings-on in the riding, and she has, I think, some good ideas of how to improve this area. I think she'll be a very good addition to the Conservative Party if she's elected for this riding.
We got a call from her husband, her campaign manager, this morning after we knocked on the door. He said, no way she's going to talk to you. The media is a distraction. What do you think about a candidate who won't speak with the media?
Well, I can't really comment too much on that. I mean, I've met her personally, and I like I said, I think she's very articulate. I think she's very intelligent. And why anyone would say that, I've no idea. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. It's almost like it's not true. I don't believe it.
So you think candidates should take the opportunity to talk to the media?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is your chance to get out there and speak, you know, to the public and get your name out there, and you know, it's a way to attract votes. I think it's a good idea for everybody to speak on camera.
Hi, I'm Bob Mann. I'm running for Parliament in this election. I hope you'll take a look at our election material before voting day.
Bob Mann is running for the Communist Party. The former steel worker has run a dozen times at all levels of government and never come close to winning. At the age of 77, he keeps trying. As you get older, does this get harder?
No. The fire's still in the belly.
But it's an uphill battle just to get heard.
Hi, I'm Bob Mann. I'm running for Parliament.
I didn't want it.
Bob, you're a perennial candidate. You only got 399 votes last time. Why do you keep running?
Because it's important that the socialist voice be heard. There's very little socialism left today with the advents of Mulcair and dropping the term socialism, and all of their actions are certainly not very socialist. And sadly, they're not far enough to the left to please most working people.
What issues do you want to see discussed and pushed in this election?
The major issue is really capitalism. What capitalism is doing to our society these days. This whole country has been ravaged by foreign interests. All of our natural resources have been sold off pretty well. And if we go along with the CETA deal and the Pacific deal, things will get worse. The more these trade deals are signed, the more incursions there are into our society. And we lose sovereignty each and every time. And U.S. Steel is a fine example of us losing sovereignty.
When U.S. Steel bought Stelco in 2007, among its commitments was to keep the plant operating. After shutting Stelco down, the American company made a secret settlement with the Conservative government. Now the Canadian operation is in bankruptcy, and there are concerns that pensions of 14,000 retired steel workers could be cut.
But it's that apprehension, that wondering what's going to happen. Are they going to lose their benefits? How much of a haircut are they going to get on their pension? So that instability, you can see it when you're out talking to people in Hortons or whatever. There's always somebody calling my office, asking what do we think is going to happen. How are you doing?
Many of those pensioners play cards at the local Legion, where Marston often visits even when he's not campaigning.
Well, hello, everyone. You notice that I didn't interrupt your card game this time. I made that mistake once before. I'll never make it again. Never get between seniors and their cards. It's not a healthy place.
His grassroots touch seems to strike a chord.
Hi.
Come here. We're all going to vote NDP for you.
Well, that's nice of you. I appreciate it.
Wait.
Well, are you changing?
Yes, sir.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. Well, there's a few people in Stoney Creek. If you think about it, for years it was Liberal.
Oh, yeah?
And so quite a few people came over. Now they're telling me, like yourself, Conservatives who have decided to come over to us. So, yeah. So we're quite happy to hear that.
So how are you thinking of...
I'm going NDP.
And why?
Because I like him. He's a good guy.
How are you feeling about the election? How are you deciding?
I'm all excited.
Yeah?
Because I'm voting NDP this time. I'm an all conservative.
We need help. Yeah, we really need it at the federal level, though. The city can't afford to do what it needs to do without government help.
And you've already built the base for changing Hamilton, being mayor already.
Yeah.
At his campaign headquarters, Bob Brattina holds an open house for volunteers as they get ready for the final push.
I actually don't mind the longer campaign because we've got a lot of doors to knock on, and every time it seems we do knock on a door, we get a positive result. So the more the merrier. You've all been doing so much, not for us, because really it's not about Bob Bratina, and it's about Canada. And Canada was a country that we were so proud of, and at times we've lost a little bit of that pride. And
with opposition parties pushing to topple the Conservative government, the outcome here may partly depend on which leader, Justin Trudeau or Tom Mulcair, is seen as the best choice to replace Stephen Harper.
Justin Trudeau must have a lot of appeal in this riding to those people that voted Liberal back in the Monroe Cops Day.
Let me offer you this. When I'm out and about, and I go to my Hortons, as I told you, and the guys will kind of give me a little jab and say, what do you think of Justin? And I would respond by saying, okay, consider him as the Chief Administrative Officer of Canada. Would you want him in that role? Out of 2 years going out there every week with hundreds of people talking to me about it, I haven't found one single gap.
some people have confronted me with the just not ready, which I say, you know, that's a TV commercial. That's not a fact. You don't know if he's ready or not, or I don't. But you have to vote for the person that you think is going to best represent your riding. I put this question to people. Do you think they would be comfortable with a federal New Democratic government? Because our situation in Hamilton, the local issue, is an overabundance of orange, of NDP members. And so I say the political spectrum is missing a primary color, red.
Jack, this was pre-Obama.
They spar, too, over deficits and promises of infrastructure spending.
Both Justin Trudeau and Tom Mulcair are promising it, but there's a bit of a difference. Justin Trudeau has said he would go into deficit for 3 years to make sure that money gets spent. Tom Mulcair seems to have tacked a bit to the right with this promise of balanced budgets. Is that hurting in this riding with some elements in the NDP?
Well, first of all, it's not tacking to the right. It's consistent with the historical record of the NDP. If you look at Stats Canada and you look at provincial governments, NDP governments, they've balanced the books more than any other government in the history of this country. The reality is we have to live within our means. Now, if the time comes that it becomes critical to go into deficit, what we're saying is that the money that's there now, we found last year that the Conservatives didn't spend $10 billion. You probably heard there was $1 billion that was not spent on veterans. So there's monies that are back into the coffers. Now, until you get the books, nobody's going to know for sure. But you have to aspire to that goal of balanced budgets.
The promise of a balanced budget in the absence of the final numbers, from the federal government really is meaningless. The only way you're going to balance a budget, should things be even worse than we may have thought, is to cut programs. Justin's understood that. So he's come out pretty brazenly, but delightfully, in my opinion, to say, we need to spend some money, we need stimulus for our economy. All of the economists agree with that. Money's cheap. Although we're in recession and there's a question of the government finances generally, we're not in a deep hole. So this is the time, if you want to be Keynesian, and everybody seems to be since 2008, make the stimulus investments now on the low dollar, the low interest rates. And I think Justin's not making this stuff up on his couch. He's talking with very smart people who understand that.
As for Diane Babenko, we finally got a glimpse of her campaign. Her husband, Dave Brown, who refused to allow an interview with the candidate, let us into Conservative headquarters and agreed to chat about the challenge she faces.
We knew we had a challenge with Mr. Marsden in this riding. There's a considerable amount of NDP support here, but we also think that he's seen his high water mark. And at this point, notwithstanding how the last couple of weeks are going, we're anticipating a much better September. As people start to lock in, there's a large undecided group of people out there, and those are the ones that we're targeting. Those are the people that we're trying to find, talk to them, find out what they have to say, what's interesting to them, or what's of interest to them, and then we're telling them what we can offer them as a party and as a government going forward.
What's the message to voters who may be contemplating the prospect of an NDP or Liberal government?
Hang on to your wallets. It's going to be an expensive ride. The promises that they're making, I don't know how they're going to pay for them. That's my big concern. So the message is we're we've been managing our economy in this country through some very difficult times, and I would suggest to you that we still have a few dollars in our pocket at the end of the day.
Dan, how's the race shaping up in Hamilton East-Stoney Creek?
Well, it's shaping up as a race between the incumbent, NDP MP Wayne Marston, who's held the riding since 2006, and the Liberals have landed the former mayor, one-term mayor, Bob Bertino, who was a popular radio personality. It seems to be coming down between them. And it's, whether the Liberals can reestablish themselves in Hamilton or the NDP can hold on to the riding and build out from Hamilton.
Well, how popular was Bertina as a mayor? I mean, is that a real plus for him in that riding?
Well, he wanted to run in Hamilton Centre because he has ties to Hamilton Centre, but they'd already had a candidate there, and there was resistance to him. But he has ties to Hamilton East-Stoney Creek. He grew up there, and he knew people there and everything, but Mr. Marston's been there since 2006, and he beat a Liberal and Cabinet Minister, Tony Valeri, to win the riding. He beat a challenge by another mayor, Larry Deanny, to hold on to the riding in 2008. Now, the Liberals, they had a weak candidate in 2011, and she wasn't even from that riding. But the Tories had a former councillor, a guy named Brad Clark, who just recently unsuccessfully ran for mayor of Hamilton, and he had been a Ontario Tory cabinet minister, and Wayne beat him. Brad came second, but Wayne even beat him.
Mm-hmm. The Tory candidate this time, Diane Babenko, seems to be keeping a very low profile.
Yeah, the Tories are kind of, they do have, the Tories haven't held that riding, pieces of that riding probably federally since before 1993 under Shirley Martin. She was cabinet minister in the Mulroney government.
Ms. Babenko's declined an invitation to do an interview with us. Has she been speaking to local media?
I don't know what we've done yet with our riding profiles and stuff, but initially when she got the nomination, she was approachable and did a big interview with her and ran it in the paper, and she felt she could win the riding for the party.
The Eastgate Mall is recommended as the place to take the riding's pulse. Every morning, locals gather in the food court for coffee and conversation.
So how do you think it's going to go in this riding?
This riding is going to go the same as it's gone for umpteen years, NDP.
Why is that? Does Bob Bertina, the Liberal, have no chance of turning it red again?
You are right, in my opinion, because this is a Labour riding.
We're all still Labour. Bertina hasn't got a chance. He's wasting his money.
Bertina is just like a water. He's no good, similar like other. Only.
You'll vote Liberal anyways.
I vote Liberal no matter what.
I like to see the young Justin get in. Yeah. I like the guy. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And how about you, sir?
I will be strongly supporting Harper. Very, very strong with his foreign policy and his economic platform. That'd be my firm reason for doing so.
Do you think the Conservatives have any chance in this particular riding?
Not in this riding, no, not here, no. This has been an NDP stronghold, and it probably will come out the same way in this current election.
For CPAC, I'm Roger Smith in the federal riding of Hamilton East-Stoney Creek.